Saint Walburga biography. Born in Devonshire, about 710, died at Heidenheim, the 25th of February 777. She is the patroness of Eichstätt, Oudenaarde, Ferns, Antwerp, Groningen, Weilburg, and Zutphen, and is invoked as special patroness against hydrophobia and in storms, and also by sailors. She was the daughter of Saint Richard, one of the under-kings of the West Saxons, and of Winna, sister of Saint Boniface, apostle of Germany, and had two brothers, Saint Willibald and Saint Winibald. Saint Richard, when starting with his two sons on a pilgrimage to the Holy Land, entrusted Walburga, then 11 years old, to the Abbess of Wimborne. In the claustral school and as a member of the community, she spent 26 years preparing for the great work she was to accomplish in Germany. The monastery was famous for holiness and austere discipline. There was a high standard at Wimborne, and the child was trained in solid learning, and in accomplishments suitable to her rank. Thanks to this she was later able to write Saint Winibald's life and an account in Latin of Saint Willibald's travels in Palestine. She is thus looked upon by many as the first female author of England and Germany. Scarcely a year after her arrival, Walburga received tidings of her father's death at Lucca. During this period Saint Boniface was laying the foundations of the Church in Germany. He saw that for the most part scattered efforts would be futile, or would exert but a passing influence. He therefore determined to bring the whole country under an organized system. As he advanced in his spiritual conquests, he established monasteries which, like fortresses, should hold the conquered regions, and from whose watchtowers the light of faith and learning should radiate far and near. Boniface was the first missionary to call women to his aid. In 748, in response to his appeal, Abbess Tata sent over to Germany Saint Leoba and Saint Walburga, with many other nuns. They sailed with fair weather, but before long a terrible storm arose. Hereupon Walburga prayed, kneeling on the deck, and at once the sea became calm. On landing, the sailors proclaimed the miracle they had witnessed, so that Walburga was everywhere received with joy and veneration. There is a tradition in the Church of Antwerp that, on her way to Germany, Walburga made some stay there, and in that city's most ancient church, which now bears the title of Saint Walburga, there is pointed out a grotto in which she was wont to pray. This same church, before adopting the Roman office, was accustomed to celebrate the feast of Saint Walburga 4 times a year. At Mainz she was welcomed by her uncle, Saint Boniface, and by her brother, Saint Willibald. After living some time under the rule of Saint Leoba at Bischofsheim, she was appointed Abbess of Heidenheim, and was thus placed near her favorite brother, Saint Winibald, who governed an abbey there. After his death she ruled over the monks' monastery as well as her own. Her virtue, sweetness, and prudence, added to the gifts of grace and nature with which she was endowed, as well as the many miracles she wrought, endeared her to all. It was of these nuns that Ozanam wrote, "Silence and humility have veiled the labors of the nuns, ruined the eyes of the world, but history has assigned them their place at the very beginning of German civilization. Providence has placed women at ever cradleside. On the 23rd of September 776, she assisted at the translation of her brother Saint Winibald's body by Saint Willibald, when it was found that time had left no trace upon the sacred remains. Shortly after this she fell ill, and, having been assisted in her last moments by Saint Willibald, she expired. Saint Willibald laid her to rest beside Saint Winibald, and many wonders were wrought at both tombs. Saint Willibald survived till 786, and after his death devotion to Saint Walburga gradually declined, and her tomb was neglected. About 870, Ottokar, then Bishop of Eichstätt, determined to restore the church and monastery of Heidenheim, which were falling to ruin. The workmen having desecrated Saint Walburga's grave, she one night appeared to the bishop, reproaching and threatening him. This led to the solemn translation of the remains to Eichstätt on the 21st of September of the same year. They were placed in the Church of Holy Cross, now called St. Walburga's. In 893 Bishop Archambault, Ottokar's successor, opened the shrine to take out a portion of the relics for Liugula, Abbess of Mannheim, and it was then that the body was first discovered to be immersed in a precious oil or dew, which from that day to this, save during a period when Eichstätt was laid under interdict, and when blood was shed in the church by robbers who seriously wounded the bell ringer, has continued to flow from the sacred remains, especially the breast. This fact has caused Saint Walburga to be reckoned among the Eliphory, or oil-yielding saints. Portions of Saint Walburga's relics have been taken to Cologne, Antwerp, Ferns, and elsewhere, whilst her oil has been carried to all quarters of the globe. The various translations of Saint Walburga's relics have led to a diversity of feasts in her honor. In the Roman martyrology she is commemorated on the 1st of May, her name being linked with Saint Asaph's, on which day her chief festival is celebrated in Belgium and Bavaria. In the Benedictine breviary her feast is assigned to 25 in leap year, the 26th of February. She is represented in the Benedictine habit with a little phial or bottle, as an abbess with a crozier, a crown at her feet, denoting her royal birth. Sometimes she is represented in a group with Saint Philip and Saint James the Less, and Saint Sigismund, King of Burgundy, because she is said to have been canonized by Pope Adrian II on 1st of May, the festival of these saints. If, however, as some maintain, she was canonized during the episcopate of Archambault, not in Ottokar's, then it could not have been during the pontificate of Adrian II. The Benedictine community of Eichstätt is flourishing, and the nuns have care of the saint's shrine. That of Heidenheim was ruthlessly expelled in 1538. But the church is now in Catholic hands.